Frank Franz is the district manager of the Belmont Business Improvement District, and you're going to hear from him. And Jeanette Sadik-Khan, everybody knows. And I'm the mayor if you don't recognize me, but that's okay. This is a warm spring day. You would not recognize it if you were out early Saturday and Sunday morning when it was very cold. But spring always comes, and we always say it's different than the previous year, and then you go back and you look at the charts, and it's always the same as the previous year, except that the world is a little warmer than it's been, and that's another problem, but we can talk about that later. There's been a number of articles on, particularly we're working on, the reason it comes to mind is we're working on a lot of things to help people recover from Sandy and people rebuilding, and now you're going to have to build higher because the oceans are higher and the storms certainly are more severe and in different places than they were before. But we're here to talk about a place that doesn't seem to have a flood problem. This is the only problem this place has is there's too many good restaurants, and it would not be good for my waistline to eat in all of them the same night. But Arthur Avenue is a great place to shop and to stroll or to enjoy a legendary restaurant like Mario's, which is right here. And that's definitely a good idea. You will have a great time. I just want to remind everybody that there's an awful lot of great restaurants outside of Manhattan. When tourists come to New York, they think about Manhattan, but more and more, thanks to NYC and Company and a lot of programs the city has, we're explaining that there are cultural things and the restaurants and stores throughout all 5 boroughs. And in fact, the majority of the jobs that we have created in the last couple of years in New York City were created in the other 4 boroughs other than Manhattan, where it used to be, that used to be the economic bellwether. Today, new hotels are going up in all of the boroughs, and jobs are being created, and people are going to cultural institutions, performing arts and visual arts, and it just showcases the diversity of this city. Now, if you come up here, you might drive, and if you're going to drive, you might want to pay for parking, and we are launching a pilot program, PayByPhone. It is a parking initiative along 18 metered blocks in the Belmont BID, and it is at the local municipal parking and at the local municipal parking lot. So the Belmont bid is behind this. The merchants are behind this. It's a pilot program. We're going to see whether it works. It is basically a remote payment system, and over the next year, it's going to get a tryout here. Today we're also launching an online parking availability map for this area so that motorists and passengers can see on the web and on their smartphones where there is a space. And then when you get there, you don't have to go over to the kiosk and put your card in and get a slip. You can just do it all on your smartphone. The real-time parking map is a convenient way to shorten the hunt for a parking space, and the pay through your phone is a shorter way to get going and get into the restaurant or into the store or whatever you want to do. First, let me describe the pay-by-phone parking. To participate, you sign up by going to the website or by using the app of the firm that's partnering with us on this initiative. And let me add that they're doing that at no cost to the city during the one-year pilot period. It is a company called PayByPhone. It's involved in similar programs in San Francisco, Miami, London, Vancouver, and other major cities. It's another example of how creative people are coming up with ideas to use technology to make our lives better. You give PayByPhone your license plate and credit card information. Then when you park, you can use a number of ways to let them know where you are. You can go to the firm's website using any web-enabled device and enter the prominently displayed 7-digit number on the Muni meter. Jeanette Sadik-Khan did that. The commissioner did that while we were over there taking pictures. You can use any touch-tone phone to call the firm's toll-free number and enter the 7-digit multimeter number that way. You can also download PayByPhone's app to a mobile device by scanning the QR code on the Muni meter, and that's the maze-like insignia displayed on it, and then enter the 7-digit Muni meter number. Using any of these methods, you can purchase parking time in 15-minute increments up to the maximum period allowed by local regulations. Here it's 2 hours, as you can see on the kiosk. There'll be no additional fees or process charges involved in this. You receive a text message or email confirming your purchase. You also get text or email warnings before your meter time expires, and you can use PayByPhone to extend your meter time without ever going back to your car. So it really is everything that you can think of to make your life better. PayByPhone will also, I'm happy to say, work with the NYPD on enforcement of meter rules. If a traffic agent doesn't see a meter receipt on your car's dashboard, he or she will be able to use a handheld scanner that can cross-check license plate numbers with PayByPhone's records of payments that are received. PayByPhone parking is another example of how we're using technology to make it easier to access a wide range of city services and also make it easier to get around town. Another of these innovations is the real-time parking availability map that I mentioned that we're also launching today. And to tell us more about it, let me turn things over to Transportation Commissioner Jeanette Sadik-Khan. Jeanette?
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. As you've heard, New York City parking has come a long way since we had to put a roll of quarters in our pocket just to get ready to pay for parking at the curb. And as we've upgraded the meters that used to take only pocket change, and now they take credit cards, we've actually converted some 86,000 single-space meters to 13,000 advanced muni meters to date. And so, but before you can pay for the meter, you actually have to find a parking spot. And now I think the city is going to help you get what you need to get that done. And that's actually what led us to come up with this real-time parking availability map that we're launching with a partnership of StreetLine, with IPSense, and Xerox. And how it works is that there are sensors that are embedded in the curb lane, and so we can collect information about how many vehicles are there on the 177 spots, metered spots that we've got on Arthur Avenue and 187th Street. This information is then uploaded to a map that you can find on nyc.gov/DOT, and it uses a simple color-coded system, green, yellow, or red coding, to tell you the likelihood of finding a parking spot. It doesn't tell you an exact spot to go to because, as you know, spots go in half a second in the city of New York, but it tells you what the chances are that you'll find a spot on a particular block. So green indicates the greatest likelihood of a spot, yellow the chances aren't so good, and red, well, you get the idea. Forget about it. So, but knowing where to go and to concentrate your search on where it's going to have the biggest value and the biggest payoff is half the battle. And helping drivers avoid that cruising around and the congestion and pollution that causes is a real benefit. So the real-time parking app will also be available on StreetLine's Parker smartphone app later this summer. We're going to unveil that within the next 2 months once we've refined and improved the technology, and then we'll also make that available throughout other neighborhoods in the city. New Yorkers never stand still, and with these two innovative pilot projects, we're helping ensure that they get on their way as quickly as possible. And it's tough in a city like this to make these kinds of projects happen. The complexity of our streets, our parking infrastructure. I really want to thank the leadership of Guillermo Oliva and Tom McGuire, Assistant Commissioners at New York City DOT, for helping make this happen. And also a big shout out to our Bronx Borough Commissioner, Connie Moran, who knows the ins and outs of every community up here in the Bronx. So, and finally, I want to thank Mayor Bloomberg for making it easier, safer, and smarter for all of us to get around town. Thank you.
Jeanette, thank you. And now the district manager of the Belmont bid, Frank France. Frank?
Well, first, Mayor Bloomberg has been no stranger to our community, so we're happy to have him back up here again, along with our Transportation Commissioner, Jeanette Sadik-Khan. Parking and congestion in this community is a decades-old problem, which is not, I guess, untypical of many communities in the city. So I was very pleased when about a year and a half ago our local DOT Commissioner, Connie Moran, asked our community if we'd be interested in trying to pioneer some studies in some of these new techniques. I'm very happy to say at this time now that some of them have come to fulfillment, and we see this as a major step in managing parking, managing the muni meters, and finding parking spots quicker in this neighborhood. I applaud that. We are very committed to making this happen. I've been testing it myself on my own smartphone for the last couple of weeks. Find it very easy to operate. Our residents and shoppers who we've talked to about this are welcoming this with great anticipation. So I'm sure it's going to work out very well. And I'd just like to say once more, thank you for picking Belmont to do this. Thank you very much.
Frank, thank you. Let me just summarize what we said for our announcement today for our Spanish-speaking New Yorkers. Estamos anunciando un nuevo programa piloto en el Distrito de Mejoramiento Comercial de Belmont. Este programa le va a dar a conductores la oportunidad de pagar el estacionamiento municipal a través de su teléfono. And with that, we'll be happy to take some questions.